Um, we're recording now? Okay, great. There we go. Good evening. My name is Randolph Micklejohn. I'm a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Brookline and the chair of this evening's meeting. Before we begin, I will confirm that members and other persons anticipated to participate in the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Johanna Schneider.
Here.
Stephen Brooks.
Here.
And we will expect another member for a case. Oh, you know what? That's the problem, Joanna. We would need Wadner for the first case. Well, let's see if Wadner appears during the intro. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Cameron James.
Present.
Polly Selko.
Present.
Or maybe, thank you. All speakers should identify themselves by name prior to speaking. This meeting of the ZBA in open session is being conducted remotely and in a manner that is consistent with Chapter 2 of the Act of 2025, which authorizes this body to meet entirely remotely so long as the adequate alternative means of public access is provided. Adequate public access does not include public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the ZBA is convening by video conference via Zoom as posted on the town's calendar, which identifies how the public may access the meeting. Be advised that this meeting is being held and that some attendees may be participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that others may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided to members of this body are available on the town website through a link in the agenda. The meeting will follow the agenda unless I note otherwise. Next, I will cover some ground rules that will permit clear and effective conduct of our business and help to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will invite each member by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold yours until your name is called. Please also remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking and to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Before responding, please wait until the floor is yielded to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in colloquy with other members, please do so through me. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call. Finally, I will explain how members of the public may speak in this meeting. If you wish to speak, you may either raise your hand using the Zoom feature or send a chat message to our host, Cameron. Cameron, I will ask you to help me look for raised hands and also to tell me about requests to speak that you receive via the chat. I will try to call in members of the public in the order their requests were received. When it is your turn to speak, I will call on you by name only. Please begin your remarks by confirming your name and stating your address. All right. Now we have 4 matters on the agenda, and I want to talk about the order of the cases as we'll hear them, and also the members participating. Johanna, you've recommended that we hear the 619 Boylston Street case first, and that would, since Wadner isn't here, that would mean you would participate in that case, or is that okay?
If I'm not mistaken, it's just a request for a withdrawal, so I don't think that there's any issue with me sitting on that.
Okay.
For that exclusive purpose.
Okay, so that's so again, back to the order. We will depart slightly from the order on the posted agenda. We will first hear 619 Boylston Street, and then we will continue. We will have a continued hearing on 320 Woodland Road, for which Johanna Schneider will resume chairing the hearing as she did last month. After that case, Johanna will depart. Wadner Oja will join Steve Brooks and me for the remaining 2 cases. For each case, the chair will introduce the case by number and address and identify the applicant or person who will speak on the applicant's behalf and ask if they will waive a reading of the public notice. The applicant will present the request for relief, and if the board requests it, the design of the project, and board members may ask questions of the applicant. Next, we will hear public comment. First, the chair will call on those members of the public wishing to speak in favor of the project and then on those opposed. We will then hear the reports of the planning department and of the planning board and comments by the building department. Finally, the board will deliberate and give its decision. All right, going to the bottom of the pile, the first case we will hear, 619 Boylston Street, where the project is to modify a previously approved cluster subdivision, ZBA case 2019-0017, and create a separate single-family lot. Who is here as the applicant or on behalf of the applicant?
I am, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Allen, good evening. Will you waive a reading of the public notice?
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. We understand through staff that there's an intention to withdraw. Can you confirm that and tell us the reason?
Yeah, just briefly for the record, Robert Allen, 300 Washington Street in Brookline Village. I'm here to ask for withdrawal without prejudice, as this is a very complicated case, and we've been working closely with staff, both planning and building department, and we just don't think we're fully ready yet to present this to the ZBA. So we would ask to withdraw it at this time without prejudice, and perhaps it'll come back again, perhaps not if we're not able to put it together. But we're not ready to go forward at this time is the bottom line, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Members, any questions for Mr. Allen?
And just for the record, Johanna, even if you choose to abstain, there would still be a majority voting if you go along with it, and it would be a fine. 2-0-1 vote would be fine. If you may already know that, right. Sorry.
Right.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Johanna, Steve, any questions for Mr. Allen?
No question.
None.
Seeing none. We've heard the applicant's request for withdrawal without prejudice. I have no objection. I think I would support it. Can we hear from all members? Johanna.
I'm going to abstain from voting. You
are going to abstain. All right. Steve Brooks.
I would vote in support.
All right. That is 2 votes. Makes for a grant of the request for withdrawal.
Thank you all very much.
Sorry, I should have mentioned just on the record that this was case 2026-000006. Let's get that on the record. All right. All right, that concludes our first case of the evening. But Mr. Allen, I think you were with us for the next one.
Yeah.
And Johanna, will you now take over as chair for the case?
I will. I will take up the gavel. Good evening, everyone. Johanna Schneider, acting as chair for the continued public hearing of 320 Woodland Road. This is an application seeking design review from this board. We did have a full presentation on, I believe, February 12th from the applicant team. And at that time, members of the board felt that there was insufficient information shared with us to allow us to make a determination that the project complied with the assorted criteria under which we need to make findings for design review. And so the applicant sought and we granted a continuance until today. And I understand that they have some updated presentation materials and updated plans that they would like to share. Mr. Allen, I believe you are still here on behalf of the applicant. If you'd like to introduce yourself, your team, and tell us what's been happening, that would be great.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, again, Robert Allen, 300 Washington Street in Brookline Village. Tim Burke's on with me. He was the architect on the project. I won't go back into a lot of the things I talked about before. I think it's pretty straightforward. We're just here for design review. We had a pretty, I'd say, robust discussion on the project, and we continued in order to provide the board with more evidence to show how the project design fits within the architectural context of the neighborhood. Well, we went beyond that. We on a presentation. We actually took some feedback we heard from specifically Randolph, and we revised the project significantly to come up with a design that we feel is strongly represents the diverse architecture character in the neighborhood. I do want to digress for 1 minute and pick up something on that the chair said at the last meeting and recommend that this board confer with staff about reviewing the language in 509, perhaps similar to the Harvard Overlay District. And I see Polly on here, so it's appropriate that she listens in on this, that perhaps this should be, the planning board could conduct a design review process and serve as the approving authority rather than merely making a recommendation to the ZBA. And my reasoning is pretty straightforward. We spent 18 months before the planning board engaging with 7 architects who all offered different opinions. It was very difficult. We spent a lot of time and money coming to an agreement whereby all 7 of those architects, with all differing opinions, unanimously approved this project, only to come to the ZBA, and it's like we never went through that whole process. So it's very difficult when you have the carrying costs like they are today, the attorney fees, the architectural fees, and this is probably one of the few provisions in the code that allows subjectivity, so much subjectivity, that it really should be a little bit clearer, because I think it's patently unfair for any resident of Brookline to have to go through the process that we've gone through here today. Now that I got that off my chest, based on what we heard, we made additional changes, most notably to the roof forms, which have been redesigned to incorporate pitched hip and gable roofs rather than flatter contemporary profiles. These revisions reduce the perceived massing and reflect roof types commonly found in our in the nearby homes. Additionally, we provided facade articulations and changes to materials, including the use of brick and stucco, further breaking down the scale of the building and creating elevations more consistent with the traditional residential architecture of this area. We feel strongly that the redesigned residents fit comfortably within the existing neighborhood. Again, all we need is design review under section 5.09. We've put together a little presentation that you'll see from Tim. Very hard to find. This is a different area. There's some large homes on some large lots, and the code asks us to look at homes that comply with the zoning bylaw, and there's actually very few homes that do comply with the zoning bylaw. But I think, as you'll see, Tim put together a nice little display of homes that I think you'll find that our new proposal is a little bit more consistent with the design. So with that, if it's okay with you, Madam Chair, I'll clean up the mess I just made and turn that over to Tim.
Great, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Bob. My name is Timothy Burke. I'm the architect for the project. I have a business address of 142 Berkeley Street in Boston. And I'll share my screen and have put together, as Bob mentioned, some let me do one thing here. Okay. All right, you should see on your screen now the neighborhood drawings or photos of neighborhood houses. And
We see them, but they're very hard to read. I don't know if you can zoom in so that they're full screen.
yes,
Thank you.
is that better? Still small?
It looks like you're in a sort of preview mode where you're seeing the column on the left. I wonder if there's
Okay.
a full
Full
frame option.
Yes, here we go. All right, this should be better now. Yes.
It's still black.
Nothing came up yet.
Oh.
No, it's the same thing, Tim.
Huh. It
Well,
says that participants can now see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And but I think it is still just in that presentation or preview mode so that we can see the little thumbnails on the left-hand side of the screen. But let's not spend a lot of time trying to mess around with that. If you can just zoom in so that we could see a little bit better, that would be great.
Yes. Yeah. So I have here on the right a map that shows the different houses that we've photographed in the neighborhood. The red star is the project site. And then we've listed the houses and the lot size and the finished area for these houses, with our 2 houses here at the bottom, just for comparison's sake. And these are some of the photos we did see last time. 300 Woodland Road, which is right here, very close to the site. 48 Laurel is over here on the left. And 11 Laurel, those are also quite close to the site. That's items B and C on the map. And then there's sort of a split level here on Woodland Road and a ranch on Laurel Road. And then the second we included, there's some sort of modern house at Cedar Road, Tudors on 173 Woodland, and some of the larger kind of more modern, very large houses that here are shown. Let me just get this a little smaller. On Woodland Road and Lion Road. And this is another one on Aston Road, 30 Aston. So I think what as I studied the neighborhood, what I found was there was quite an assortment of architectural styles. And I'd be happy to kind of share with you, I put together, let me just do this here. So now I put together this would be the Woodland Road property. And I have here on the bottom right, the sort of where we had started with planning board. And then this was the scheme that came before you after going through the planning board review process. And then this is where what we're presenting tonight, and I have the detailed drawings as well, but by using trusses, we can raise the roof and make it a steeper pitch. I've made it as steep as I can. We've changed the windows to more traditional double hung styles and some picture windows. We've added a stone base to the foundation, so it sits on a masonry plinth, and added some copper details for the roof over the front door. So that was the house on Woodland Road. And the other one, can you see now the Laurel Road houses pictures?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
good. All right. So at the bottom, again, this was where we started. This one here, number 1, and then it moved into number 2. And then finally at the planning board was this option 3, which you saw it last month. And then this is the current scheme, again, with steeper pitched roofs, reduced overhangs, more traditional types of windows, as well as we've added some small roofs over the garage doors and this window here and the main entry. And again, with adding a stone base as well, which is an element that we saw a lot of in the neighborhood. So so that's, and if you'd like, I can, show the line drawings of all the elevations, but I think these help to show it best, the renderings. And I'll try to make it bigger here so everyone can see it.
Thank you. Randolph, do you want to see any drawings beyond these?
I
Beyond
don't.
these renderings? Okay.
No,
And
thank you.
Steve, do you need to see anything else, or are these enough?
This is enough. Thank you.
Okay.
Any further questions for Tim?
I do not have any. Steve, do you have any questions for Tim?
No questions. Thank you, Tim.
Randolph, any questions?
Just one. We had received through staff a one-page document called a neighborhood context study, which had a smaller number of properties. I appreciate the many properties on this presentation, and my only question is: Are we stopping here with design, or are you showing that other exhibit as well?
That was the one I sent over to you, Tim. Did you incorporate some of those in?
Yes, they were all in that first one there.
Oh, it's all
I sort of
been
put it all
blended in.
together. Try to keep it simple.
That's my fault. That was my office generated that one you saw today, and I sent it along to Tim, and I wasn't able to merge the two, but he was able to merge it.
Yes, I did. Yep.
Yeah, thank you. That's helpful. I'm all set, Joanna. No more questions.
Okay, Mr. Allen, anything that you want to say in summation before we go to public comment?
Well, I just I don't recall where I left off last time, and so I just want to make sure that, again, the 905 standards are just complied with. So specific site is appropriate location for the use. The site is a single family in a single family district. It meets all dimensional setback requirements. The use does not adversely affect the neighborhood. The use of the home will be used as a single family dwelling, as is allowed in the district. In fact, the house immediately next to it on Laurel Road was actually part of this house before and was subdivided some 7 years ago when a new house was built. There's no nuisance or serious hazard of vehicles or pedestrians. A single family home will have a driveway. As you saw, it's a nice long driveway with a good view corridor, so there shouldn't be any issues. Adequate appropriate facilities will be provided, and there'll be no effect on the supply of housing available for low and moderate income. I would suggest to you, we're creating an ADU, if you remember, in each of these units, which has been approved by the state and town meeting, and it provides affordable option for either in-law, nanny, or for a renter. So I think that's a great addition to this neighborhood for somebody that may need it in the future. So I suggest you, we have complied. Again, it's very little relief needed, and we hope you'll find in favor.
Thank you very much for the presentation. We are going to go to public comment. Cameron, is there anyone in the Zoom waiting room who has indicated they wish to speak about this proposal?
I do not see any hands raised or comments in the Q&A.
Okay, terrific. Folks on the Zoom, this is your chance to comment on this proposal. So we'll give it another 30 seconds. If anyone does want to comment, please pop your name in the chat or raise your hand so that Cameron knows that you do wish to make a comment. Okay, since there is no one who wishes to comment, we're going to move on to board and department reports. Cameron, could you please give the planning board report?
Yep. So the planning board is supportive of the proposal and found that the project is well designed and not detrimental to the neighborhood. The planning board recommends approval of the site plan by Timothy Berg, PLS, dated November 4th, 2025, and architectural plans by Christopher C. Charlton, RA, dated November 5th, 2025, subject to the following conditions. 1, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit for both lots A and B final floor plans and elevations stamped and signed by a registered architect, and a final site plan stamped and signed by a registered engineer or land surveyor to the Director for Regulatory Planning or designee for review and approval. 2, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit to the building commissioner a planning board endorsed approval not required plan showing the subdivision of lots A and B at 320 Woodland Road. 3, prior to the issuance of a building permit, a construction management plan shall be submitted for both lots A and B for review and approval of the building commissioner or designee. And 4, prior to the issuance of a building permit for demolition or construction, a rodent control plan for lots A and B shall be submitted for review and approval of the Director of Health or designee. And 5, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit for both lots A and B to the building commissioner for review and approval: A, the floor plans, site plans, and elevations displaying the approval stamp for the Director of Regulatory Planning, and B, evidence that the Board of Appeals decision has been obtained from the town clerk's office by the applicant or their representative and recorded at the Registry of Deeds.
Great. Mr. Allen, I have a quick question for you about this. We have a date and the proposed conditions for architectural plans, which is November 5th, 2025. It obviously does not reflect the updated
Thank you.
drawings. Do you have a substitute set of plans that you would like to have referenced in the conditions should the board vote to approve this?
Yes, the site plan can stay the same, but why don't you make the architectural plans of today's date 3/12/26, and Tim will make sure that his says 3/12/26.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And Cameron, are you also building department tonight?
Yeah. So the building department has no objection to the requested relief and will work with the petitioner to ensure compliance with the zoning bylaw, board's decision, and applicable codes.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. Board deliberation, Randolph, I'm going to start with you.
Sure, I'll start. I want to thank the applicant team for their response. We did have a robust discussion. I think we got a robust return design package. And I appreciate the comments about, what the role of the planning board could be, but let me not go too deep into that. I'm just going to jump ahead and say I'm going to support this, and let me just say why. All right, I just had 2 pages of notes here. The design shown on the new drawings that we've just seen tonight, I think demonstrates a design that meets the applicable community and environmental impact and design standards, specifically that subparagraph C in that section, which is what I spoke about at the first hearing, relation of buildings to the form of the streetscape and the neighborhood. And I had asked for additional information and possible revisions in 2 areas. One of them was the design of the project. Now, Mr. Burke has gone through it. We've seen changes in roof forms, in the pitch of the roof, variety of windows, presentation of a gable end, on both of the buildings, changes to the overhangs, the stone base. I think these are good examples of the building components, the forms of, the component forms of the building that can help the project achieve consistency with the neighborhood. And, given that this project was only cited for design review because of the Preservation Commission's finding that the existing building, was a significant contributor to the architectural context of the neighborhood, to me, it's very important, and especially important for the public hearing to see, as we've seen tonight, and I thank you again for that, the images and the locations of the other properties in the neighborhood. I understand, of course, it's always challenging, not just in this case, but every time you have to find properties that are conforming with the zoning bylaw. But I think the applicant has delivered on the spirit of the bylaw in what town meeting has given us to work with in that subparagraph C. I think for the special permit required when design review is triggered, I agree with the applicant's statements about the 905 conditions having been met. And I think that's probably enough for me, and I'm going to say I'll support it.
Thank you, Randolph. Steve, anything to add?
Thank you. I like the design, the new design. I think it touches a lot of bases. I'm happy with it. It looks modern, but not so modern that it looks out of place. And that to me is really where the touchstone is. So, and I would agree with Randolph. It's I'm glad that you went back and did the work and it comes back like this. So it's easily supportable by me.
Thank you, Steve. And I agree with everything that both Randolph and Steve had said. And again, I want to extend my thanks to the applicant and the applicant team for, making these changes so that this board can be comfortable unanimously approving this, subject to the modified conditions as read into the record.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, Randolph.
Thanks,
Good night.
Bobby. All right, now, so Johanna, we're coming to a little pivot point in the evening. Cameron, I'm scanning the screen looking for Wadner.
Yeah, he's not here.
Johanna, do you have to go somewhere?
I don't. We did this because I had a conflict with a matter that was on the agenda that is no longer on the agenda. So I'm happy to stay. Or at least until Wadner joins, and then we can switch off at the last matter.
Yeah, thank you for that. Can we give Cameron just a minute to contact Wadner and see whether he might be dropping in?
Sure, I can
What do you
give him a
think?
call.
All right, thank you.
Well, why don't I give him a call and you can keep going with the meeting?
Thank you, Polly. That's fine with me. Just need to find my agenda. So our next case, and thank you, Joanna, for sticking around. Our next case is number 2025-000069. This concerns property at 80 Monmouth Street, where the project is to expand and renovate the fourth floor living area, construct a first floor deck and a roof deck. Who is here as the applicant or on behalf of the applicant?
I am, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Allen, will you waive a reading of the public notice?
I will, thank you.
Thank you. Please tell the board about your request for relief.
Great. For the record, again, Robert Allen, 300 Washington Street in Brookline Village, here representing Zach Nato, the owner of 80 Monmouth. Derek Bloom is our architect on here. Just by way of background, it's a 4-story attached row house, as a lot of Monmouth Street is. It's located in a T5 zoning district. Surrounded uses are primarily residential multifamily. It's right next to Monmouth Street Park and across from the St. Mary's T-Stop. The building is currently undergoing renovations, and the proposal before you this evening is to expand and renovate the existing 4th floor living area and construct a new first floor rear deck and roof deck. That's all we're really here for. The relief is on the deck. Relief is needed for existing nonconformities, FAR, usable open space, and building height, and for side yard setback relief from section 5.62 for the decks. So the relief can be sought under 48 section 6. Is all existing nonconformities, not creating any new nonconformities. On February 5th, the planning board voted unanimously to support the project. There was some discussion about the deck, and we ended up, they wanted the side yard of the roof deck to be even on both sides, so we agreed to do that. I think it's in 1.5 feet on each side. There was some question about the front, but the front didn't need any relief, and the board thought it was appropriate. So we could, I do have Derek here if you want to see the roof decks, what was proposed, or I can just jump into zoning if you have already looked at it.
Let me just ask the members here. Johanna, I don't know if have you had time to review this case? Would you like to see the drawings?
I would appreciate a very quick overview of the drawings if the team does not mind.
Good, let's do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Hello, Derek Bloom here from Bloom Architecture. I'll be as brief as possible.
Well, Derek, just focus on the relief. You don't have to go through the interior floor plans or anything. The relief is on the decks, right?
Jump to the roof. Okay, great.
In the rear yard deck.
In the rear deck, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, I'll do the cover just so we can see photos as well, just to familiarize. So this is the street that we're on. This is the front view of the property, if everyone can see this. So as Bob mentioned, it's in a row of very similar buildings. And the rear is here, where it picks up an extra story from the slope of the neighborhood. So on the rear, we'll be looking at a deck in this location, similar to the one adjacent. And on the roof, we'll be looking at a roof deck here, similar to the adjacent also. Jumping to the plans, sorry, jumping around here. So on the first floor level, this is the existing floor plan on the left. And the new proposal is to put a deck off of the new kitchen that would extend nearly side to side and level with the neighboring deck, and would have a staircase down, which is to their own garden level and parking out in the back alley. On the roof side of things, the current day penthouse occupies this footprint, which again, this is Monmouth on the lower side of the page. So this is the front. So this is the penthouse with the skylight. We're proposing to keep the same roof pitch, but pull it back slightly from the street and push it in width, side to side, adding skylights. The roof deck, as Bob mentioned, we had gone to planning with an adjacency on the chimney side, but we'd been going to the property line on the left side. They had asked us if we could pull it in to make them the same for maintenance and just for visual harmony and distance from the neighbors. We agreed to do that. This dashed line represents the brick facade below, and they were okay with us extending to that plane, not to the roof overhang or gutter out here, but to the flush with the brick below, if that makes sense. So that's a cursory look at it. Let me know if you need any other information.
Members, any questions here? Johanna,
No, thank you for that.
Steve?
No questions, thank you.
I have one question, and it goes back to the discussion of the relief. And Bobby, if you're going to talk about this more, maybe you could answer it there. We've got a planning board report that has the grid in it that says that the relief is available for a couple of the items under 543, but I think you said everything was relief was available for everything under section 6. Can you talk about that?
Yes, so all the relief could be granted under section 6. So there's two pre-existing nonconformities. There's FAR and usable open space, which always go together, right? Once you add, if we're not in compliance of usable open space and we have too much FAR, once we increase the FAR, we're going to increase the usable open space requirement. So those two can be done under section 6, and then the alteration of a structure with the existing non-conforming height. So the head house is 48 feet and the maximum height is 35 feet. We're extending that head house. So that can be, it's a pre-existing non-conforming
Right.
condition.
And
right?
those are the ones that the planning board, the planning report does call section 6 relief.
That's right. That's right. So, and then we propose to increase the, oh, no, so we would need the, in addition to finding a no substantial detriment, so let me get it, where's the side yard here? The required side yard setback in T5 is 10 feet plus 1 foot for each 10 feet of the building height above 14 feet tall. The building's 48 feet tall, so the setback structure is 14. Under 562, a deck or porch cannot extend more than 50% of the required rear yard setback and in no place closer than 6 feet. So the required side yard setback for the deck is 7 feet. The proposed deck on the first floor is set back from the side lot line 4 feet, and the roof deck is set back by 1.5 feet. The proposed rear deck and roof deck are modest in scale and don't alter it. The building is already non-conforming in respect to side yard setbacks. The new decks are only a minor extension into an already non-conforming condition, and the increase in FAR and usable open space existing non-conformity. So we already don't comply with the side yard setbacks. So these decks will also not comply with the side yard setbacks. Granted, they're new decks, they are in closer than the side yard setbacks of the structure, but they are new decks but do not comply with the side yard setback.
Yeah, you see why I had a question.
I do.
Seeing
It's confusing.
that the building is there clearly, it goes to the lot lines.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's,
okay.
yeah, I mean, typically you focus on what's non-conforming. It's a side yard setback, and as long as we don't increase that non-conformity, I don't think I think we can still use section 6. We've done this before with the roof deck in a row house also, because with the roof deck in particular, there's not really a lot of opportunity to use 543, and I'm not sure unless you put up some kind of lattice or something like that. But
again, that was the reason for the question, to make sure there wasn't another shoe dropping in the form of a counterbalancing amenity, but I think you're not doing that.
No, everything's
Okay.
under section 6 and no counterbalancing amenities.
Okay.
Therefore, we believe that I lost my page here. Specific site is appropriate location. As this board knows, if we're not creating a new nonconformity and there's no substantial detriment to the neighborhood, and we've talked to our neighbor who's most impacted is supportive of it. The board sometimes looks at 905 to see if it's in compliance with no substantial detriment. We say the specific site is appropriate location for the use. There is actually a deck right next door, and there's a deck a couple of houses down, so people take advantage of the roof deck. Beacons, right off Beacon Street, is a perfect location for the roof deck. Use will not adversely affect the neighborhood. It's a single family home. It's going to continue to be used. It's going to be continued to be used. It's actually got a basement unit in there, but no changes significantly other than the head house, and nothing really visible from the street. No nuisance or serious hazard to vehicles or pedestrians. no change to the current system of where the vehicles are. The adequate appropriate facilities will be provided for the proper operation, and there'll be no effect on the supply of housing available for the low moderate income. Like I said, there is currently a little unit in the basement there. So I suggest to you that we meet the standards under 905, showing no substantial detriment, and would ask for a finding under 40A Section 6.
Thank you. Members, just a quick check. Any questions for Mr. Allen after his answers and his zoning comments? Johanna?
No, none.
Steve?
No questions. Thank you.
All right, very good. We will go to public comment. Cameron, do we have members of the public present who would like to speak in favor?
I see no hands raised or comments in the Q&A.
Okay. And anyone, so no, and no one opposed either?
I don't see anything now.
Okay. For the record, we did get in the packet a message from Doug Hughes at 78 Monmouth Street, who writes about some questions about windows, of which he certain windows facing 78 Monmouth, which he understands have now been removed. And that is in the packet.
That's correct.
All right.
To him.
Let's hear from the planning department and the planning board. And I think let's see, Mr. Bloom, can you take down the drawing presentation, please?
Sure.
Before we do that, there is a Janice Khan just raised her hand.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I'll recognize Janice Khan.
You're all set to unmute.
Thank you very much, and I'm sorry to weigh in so late. I just wanted to acknowledge
Janice,
that
sorry to stop you. Just give
sorry,
us
Janice
your
Khan.
name and address,
Oh,
please.
Yep, sorry. Janice Khan. I'm a town member in precinct 15. This is my neighborhood. I live at 63 Craftsland Road, so I am often going by Woodland Road.
Janice, I'm just going to stop you. We are on a Monmouth Street case now.
Oh, sorry.
We've already concluded what I know where you live, so
Oh,
I knew right away you were on the
yeah.
other case. Yeah.
Sorry. Thanks, Randolph, for yeah, I wasn't able to get on earlier.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm sorry.
Right. Let's see. Okay, Cameron, and that was it for possible public comment on 80 Monmouth?
Yes.
All right. Please give us the planning department and planning board reports.
Yep. The planning board is supportive of this proposal. The planning board recommends approval of the site plan prepared by George C. Collins, PLS, dated November 25th, 2025, and architectural plans prepared by Derek Bloom, RA, dated December 10th, 2025, subject to the following conditions. 1, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit final floor plans and elevations stamped and signed by a registered architect, and a final site plan stamped and signed by a registered engineer or land surveyor to the Director for Regulatory Planning or designee for final approval. 2, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit a landscape plan subject to the approval by the Director for Regulatory Planning. The counterbalancing amenities must, well, no counterbalancing amenities, so not to. And 3, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit to the building commissioner for review and approval, A, the floor plans, site plans, and elevations displaying the approval stamp of the Director for Regulatory Planning, and B, evidence that the Board of Appeals decision has been obtained from the town clerk's office by the applicant or their representative and recorded at the Registry of Deeds.
Cameron, I want to make sure I follow you. Are you striking, following the applicant's comments about Section 6, are you striking that second condition entirely or recommending that we do that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, and from the building department?
The building department has no objection to the request of relief and will work with the petitioner to ensure compliance with the zoning bylaw, board's decision, and applicable codes.
All right, I think the board will now deliberate. Steve, would you like to start?
Sure, thank you. I appreciate the presentation. I see no new non-conformities here. No detriment to the neighborhood. It's not even visible from the street. So for those reasons, I would support it.
Thank you. Johanna?
Yeah, I would agree. I would say that overall, this is a very modest proposal. I think that going through 48 Section 6 is the right way to do this. I don't see any substantial detriment. I don't see any detriment at all, to be perfectly candid. And I also think that to the extent that, our 48 Section 6 analysis is informed by the criteria of 9.05, those are certainly met in this case. And so I am a vote in favor of this proposal.
Thank you. I'm going to vote in favor as well. I do appreciate the condensed presentation where we got to see especially the roof plans and those photographs with this section is 80 Monmouth and here are the other ones, very well presented in context, and I think it makes it very straightforward for us to make the finding, in the words of Section 6, that this is not substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming structure, existing non-conforming use to the neighborhood, and with the 905 conditions being met. In my opinion, I would vote in favor. That's a unanimous grant of a unanimous decision of the board to grant the requested relief subject to the conditions that have been read into the record.
Thank you all very much.
All right, thank you.
And Wadner has now joined you.
Oh.
So Cameron, maybe you can, I don't know,
Okay.
to do something to let him be visible.
Wadner can unmute and then show his camera if he's able to. There he is.
There he is. Good.
Joanna, thank you for bridging that little gap.
Absolutely. Have
Okay.
fun.
All right,
I
good night.
apologize to the boards.
All right, good evening. Recognizing Wadner Auger for those attending. Wadner is a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals and will be the third member on the panel with Steve Brooks and me for the fourth and final case on the agenda this evening, which is number 2025-000071, which concerns property at 99 and 101 Mason Terrace, where the project is to subdivide a property into two lots and build a single family dwelling on the rear lot. Who is here as the applicant or on behalf of the applicant? Mr. Goldstein.
John, how do you do?
Good evening. I'm very well,
Good.
thanks. How are you? Nice to see
I'm
you.
actually joined by you too, sir. Joined by
And
Max.
will you waive a reading of the public notice?
I will.
Thank you. Please tell the board about your request.
Sure. I'm joined by Max Pomerantz, who's the lead owner on this proposal, and I see David Pomerantz, his father, is here, and our architect is Kent Duckham. If you guys want to make your turn your videos on, that would be great. Much like the other matters before you this evening, this is not an attempt to hit a zoning home run either. This is a rather modest proposal to subdivide and then this rather large lot and make a second home for a family, for an extended family. Max Pomerantz grew up in the house at 99 Mason Terrace and wants to continue living close to his family in the rear lot. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're not building a large structure, just a structure that'll suit their needs. So two family at 99 Mason Terrace is occupied by Max's family. In fall of 2023, town meeting enacted a zoning change to turn the lot into T5 and to make this possible. So that goes a long way. It requires a 2/3 majority at town meeting. So you know that this has been reviewed by neighbors and by a lot of people at this point. The planning board approved the A&R plan that makes this possible at their last meeting. The last step is approval of the minor special permits for yard setbacks to accommodate the parking, which is planned to be close to and across lot lines rather than use unnecessary space to create more parking areas. So I think you'll find that the specific requirement under 5.43 for counterbalancing amenity is sufficient, that we're going to do some extensive landscaping for that. And I know that's well underway. And the general conditions under section 9.05 are clear too. Town meetings rezoning, I think, in and of itself shows that this is an appropriate use for the land, and that it will not adversely affect the neighborhood. There is no hazard or nuisance to vehicles or pedestrians. Proper facilities are provided for all aspects of a single-family house, and there's no adverse effect to low or moderate income. And in fact, being a modest house itself, a relatively modest house compared to much of the neighborhood, we're actually increasing the supply of moderate income housing. So with that, assuming you want, we will have Kent Duckham walk you through the plans.
Give me a minute here, Ken, thanks. And I just want to confer with the other members about, what areas of design to go into. We may not need to see all of it.
Okay.
Steve and Wadner, let me just make a suggestion. Because of tell me if you agree with this, because of the type of relief needed, I was going to ask if they would make a presentation with a focus on the site plans, especially. What do you think about that? Or would you like to see the building also?
Yeah, focusing on the site plans makes sense to me.
Okay,
Right.
thanks. You, Wadner?
Yeah, I'm okay with that too.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a little narrow focus. It is what the relief is about, and it's there are a number of drawing pages which we got in the packet already. We have seen the house. I think I certainly have some questions that relate to the site plan and maybe you can show us something about the parking and driving operations as well.
Great. Well, I'm gonna call up the site plans, and I'm gonna have Mr. Duckham walk you through them.
Good evening, Kent Duckham, Duckham Architecture and Interiors. You're looking at the proposed site plan that.
Just a pause here. Is there a way we can see that bigger? Maybe there's a full screen view or something like that. We're seeing your whole desktop.
Yeah, let me work on that. How's that?
Oh, better. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the site plan shows a red, somewhat zigzaggy line, which is the proposed subdivision of the lot. That subdivision accommodates the access coming from the street and goes back and expands so that there could be potential parking on the rear lot, and then a small building envelope, which is in the dashed blue line, sort of at the.
Ken, just a quick thing. We can see your arrow, your pointer cursor. If you can drag it around, that will help us if you point to things while you talk about them.
Yeah, good idea. Thank you.
Very good. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and so then there's a small building lot in the back. Rear lot is in this case a 30-foot rear yard setback and a 30-foot front yard setback. So we're proposing to reduce the front yard setback from 30 feet to 10 feet, slightly over 10 feet, so that we can get a reasonable footprint for the house. The house is 2,500. It's 22 square feet proposed. The allowable for that lot is 6,253. So it's a modest house relative to what is available, although there's not a lot of room back there. It's a long access to get to the back. So the house is set into the hill, into the slope, goes down with a walkout area in the back, and you can see some little terrace areas that are sort of hatched in behind the gray portion of that proposed footprint. So the relief is for reducing the front yard setback for the rear lot. And then additionally, it is a kind of family compound. So Max's aunt and uncle, nieces, and grandmother live in the front house. And Max and his wife and child would live in the rear house. And so they're purchasing the lot from their family in order to be able to do it. So I think it's 4 generations of Pomeranz will be there on this property. And so being, they already have roughly 6 parking spots on the property for the existing front house, and they wanted to maintain at least that for the proposed. So you can see there's 2 parking spots behind the existing house in the front, and then 4 diagonal spaces off to the side. So there's a lot of relief required for those shared spaces because they overlap the lot lines in a number of areas. There was cited at one point that some of that parking was originally in the side yard setback, but we were able to get the last space there, the bottom of the diagonal spaces out of the side yard setback. So that's one less requirement there. I don't know if you want to go through the various reliefs required for the parking. There were several.
Sure, someone on the applicant team should do that, but let me just, if we're leaving design, let me just check with members. Steve Wadner, do you have any questions about the design presentation?
No, the only question, I noticed there's a public access way, the stairs going down. How's that gonna affect that? Does it affect it by any way?
So the public access way is on the left-hand side of this drawing. There's a path
The answer is it doesn't really affect it.
Goes onto the property. You want to follow that, Ken, with your cursor?
Yeah. Well, that's the public access. It winds up through the abutting properties. There really is no effect here. We're maintaining it just the way it's always been, and we're not decreasing it at all.
Yeah, Wadner, I'm glad you brought that up because I had a similar question, and I think maybe I was misled. But there's on the O'Brien land surveying drawing, there's an indication of passageway twice on the site plan. It made me wonder whether the public pathway went up next to the lot, but I think Ken, I think you're saying that's not what it's doing.
I'm trying to get to the back of the.
Show that. Probably have to scroll up.
Yeah, for some reason it's not wanting to scroll anymore.
So on the downhill side of the lot, it's on the adjacent property, and then sort of about midway up, it shifts over onto the property. But it's
Can we get to that site plan, please, in the main view, the one with all the purple and green and blue, that or whichever one we can see it on.
That's fine.
And sorry, I got to ask the full screen view again without the desktop. Yeah,
that's right there.
That's better.
Randolph, if you look at the main house on the front, to the left of that is that green area. The dotted line there's a line there that's from the property line over about 4 feet before you get to the house. That's the passageway.
And it's a public access. Does it have a name? Is it it's not Mason Path, is it?
No, it's baked into the old subdivision of this property, and it's not a path that the town of Brookline has adopted as one of its paths. It's just there.
Oh, so in practical or
clear
functional terms, is it open to public access now or no?
Well, it is as a practical matter. It's not necessarily as a legal matter. It's not clear who is granted rights to that easement or not. It's an old vestige kind of.
It's passable though.
It's passable though.
All right. Well, Wadner, let me go back to you. Is this answering your question?
Yes, I just, I'm very familiar with the neighborhood and I walk through those pathways, so I just want to make sure that, I don't know the legal things going on, but it seems like it's a public pathway so that it's not gonna be affected.
Yeah,
It's entirely unaffected in our proposal. And in many ways, by fencing along the lot line, it'll make it a more, enticing path. It'll be more private.
Wadner, other questions?
No other questions, Randolph.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Steve, any questions about the design?
Just for some clarity, I'm looking at the 4 vehicle spaces that are next to the light blue area. And is there a some type of wall around the bottom car? Is that block looking segment down
Yeah,
there? Is that
yes, there's a little section of retaining wall there because the grade drops off enough that we need to hold up that little corner of the 4 lots or 4 spots at that point. But that is entirely out of the side yard setback.
okay? Yeah, it looks like that. Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I have.
I'll say, Steve. Yeah, I just had one question. One of the presenters mentioned something about that described the ownership. And I was noting an item in the planning board report that the special permit for shared, I guess, for sharing parking on 2 lots, it requires the 2 lots be under the same ownership. Do you have the detail on how the family configuration here aligns with that?
Yeah, currently it is in one ownership right now. It has not been transferred to 2 ownerships now, nor could it until we subdivide, so.
I mean,
Well, but
typically, Randolph, this is Polly, typically, it hasn't, if it's within contiguous like that, the ownership requirement has not been enforced in the past. Now, I'm not saying that the bylaw doesn't say that, but we have many examples where if it was clear that there was kind of some mutuality there, that they would allow it.
But Polly, can I ask a question? I mean, if suppose if relief is granted and we don't, lean hard on the ownership issue, and if one of these properties is sold, if the relationship of the owners of the 2 lots of that were formerly 1 lot, if they don't have any personal relationship, does that create a problem or some ambiguity down the line?
Well, if you look at condition number 4, it says that prior to the issuance of a building permit, evidence of the recording of parking and common driveway shall be provided.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. I'm getting ahead of myself here, so we will come to that shortly. My only other question about the design, just while we have the site plan up, with respect to counterbalancing amenities consisting of landscaping, plantings, and so on. Is there a working location for those? Or I didn't see a drawing in the packet indicating landscape plantings, which is okay, but it would be helpful to know where they might be.
It's definitely a work in process. Max, do you want to tell us where we are? Tell the board where you are on the landscaping plan.
Yeah, so we've engaged a landscape architect out of Cambridge, Mark.
Sorry, Mr. Pomerantz, if you can I just ask you to just give your name in the record since you're starting speaking now.
Sorry, thank you. Max Pomerantz. That's sufficient?
Yes.
Yeah, fabulous. So working with Mark, he's drawing a proposal currently, and we also, I know that part of a little bit of a delay is that he's looking for the expertise of an arborist to come in and assess some of the trees, because there's also a tree mitigation plan as well. And so the arborist is coming, I believe, this weekend to come over and do that assessment. And then Mark is supposed to get us the remainder of the landscape proposal as the counterbalancing amenity.
Max, can you explain to Mr. Micklejohn where the landscaping is going? I think it's all over the lot, but myself, but
Yeah, so
particular.
it's effectively across the back lot, right? So across the back lot, that kind of blue area, definitely along the sides of the lot on the left-hand side, also on the right-hand side. And I guess if you can see like the orange square area, right, where you have kind of that more open area down there below, and then also up and to the right. So it's kind of, I guess you would say, everywhere on the back lot.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make an open-ended suggestion, and you don't have to answer this right now because you don't have a landscape drawing for us. But my understanding is that you are requesting relief for the front lot on some items which will require a counterbalancing amenity. So it would be good to have that in mind as you develop the landscaping plan, so that you know, for the dimensional relief required for the existing house on what will become the front lot, that there is some landscaping that appears on that lot, that new lot, when it is subdivided, that could be reasonably associated with the relief that's sought for that existing house.
I think that's a great point. Yep.
I'm sure my parents are going to love that.
Okay, well,
yes.
I don't have
Noted.
any other questions about the design. So let's see. Ken or Kent, more to say about the zoning argument?
Did you want me to go through the specifics of the dimensional reliefs? I can do that quickly.
Yes, quickly. That would be great.
So this
But and to help us out, that we do have to make findings in this case about the two sort of subsets of relief, because this is heading towards being two properties. So if you could frame it up that way, that will help us later on.
I will. On 99, the existing property, the front yard requirement is 11.5 feet. It's a pre-existing nonconformity of 7.9 feet. It's not being extended in any way, shape, or form. The side yard setback requirement is 5 feet. It's going to be 0 feet because that's where the parking is going. So we are, looking for a special permit under 5.43 for that. Rear yard setback requirement is 5 feet. Again, the parking is going there, so it's 0 feet because it's going over the lot line. Again, 5.43 with a counterbalancing amenity will allow us to do that. On the new property, we have a required front yard setback of 60 feet. Our proposed is 10.25 feet. And again, 5.43 counterbalancing amenity is hopefully acceptable there. And side yard setback requirement is 5 feet, again, because of the parking. We're looking for relief there as well.
All right, thank you. Members, any questions on the Steve's comment? And sorry, on the applicant's zoning comments, Steve?
No questions. Thank you.
Wadner?
I don't have any questions.
All right. Let's see if the presenter can take down the site plan drawing. I think we can go to public comment if we have any. Cameron, can you let us know? Are there members of the public present who would like to speak in favor of this project?
I don't see any hands raised.
And nobody in present to speak in opposition?
No.
All right. Thank you. Let's have the reports of the planning department and the planning board then.
The planning board is supportive of the proposal. The board questioned whether the applicant could move the proposed 4 parking spaces to not be angled. However, the applicant explained that the proposed parking was the best configuration to allow for the needed parking and to maximize the ease of egress. The board accepted this explanation and approved the plans as presented. The planning board recommends approval of the site plan prepared by Dennis O'Brien, PLS, dated August 29th, 2025, and the architectural plans prepared by Kent Duckham, last dated December 18th, 2025, subject to the following conditions. 1, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall submit a final site plan prepared by a registered engineer or land surveyor, subject to the review and approval for the Director of Regulatory Planning. 2, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall submit final floor plans and elevations of the new single-family dwelling prepared by a registered architect, subject to the review and approval of the Director for Regulatory Planning. 3, prior to the issuance of a building permit, an A&R plan indicating parking and driveway easements and in accordance with the site plan shall be submitted to the planning board for endorsement and recorded at the Registry of Deeds. Evidence of the plan's recording shall be submitted to the Director of Regulatory Planning and the Building Commissioner. 4, prior to the issuance of a building permit, evidence of the recording of the parking and common driveway easements at the Registry of Deeds shall be provided to the Director of Regulatory Planning and the Building Commissioner. 5, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall electronically submit a final landscape plan, including all retaining wall heights and materials, subject to the review and approval of the Director for Regulatory Planning. The counterbalancing amenities must be executed in accordance with this plan. And 6, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall submit to the Building Commissioner for review and approval for conformance to the Board of Appeals decision. 1, a final site plan stamped and signed by a registered engineer or land surveyor. 2, final building elevation stamped and signed by a registered architect. And 3, evidence that the Board of Appeals decision has been recorded at the Registry of Deeds.
Thank you, Cameron. Can you just make a note, if we do grant relief here, I would like to make the change that we often make to condition number 5, which is to insert a phrase, submit a final landscaping plan indicating the counterbalancing amenities, and then the rest of it as you have it, so that in case I forget to mention that when we vote, that will be, I believe that should be in the conditions. And the building department.
The building department has no objection to the requested relief and will work with the petitioner to ensure compliance with the zoning bylaw, board's decision, and applicable codes.
Thank you. We can now deliberate. I'm just going to start to keep us on the framework, which is I can't remember the last time we had a case that had sort of 2 subsets of relief, and I would like us to acknowledge that as we go through our decision. I'm inclined to favor it. The 2 of them together. I'll say it that way. I think this is an interesting lot to work with, large enough in land area to be subdividable, but trapezoid in shape, and of course on a steep slope, as everyone on the applicant team is well aware. And although I think the way it looks to me is that the functional and sensible way of dividing the lot and allowing for vehicle circulation, is what generates a lot of the requests for the relief related to the vehicles. For number 99, which is the existing house on the large undivided lot, there is 1 item of relief sought for the projections into the front yard, which is a pre-existing non-conforming, where relief is available under section 6, where the board can find that the use, the existing house, but on a different lot now, where the use is not substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming use in the neighborhood. As we conventionally do, where the 905 conditions for grant of a special permit are met, where that relief can be available through that means. The other two are for, and I'm still on 99, the other two for the parking area are available under section 543, under special permit under that section, that is, provided the counterbalancing amenities are provided. We've heard a general proposal about landscaping. I'm going to repeat my request that this be reasonably equitably distributed over the two parcels. For number 101, it is just dimensional relief required for the parking. Sorry, is 2 items of dimensional relief, one for the front yard setback, the other for the setback of the parking, but both dimensional, both therefore are available by under special permit under section 543, provided the counterbalancing amenity is provided. I think it will work. There's a bit of detail to do to get through the planting design, and I appreciate the attention to the trees. That is a good concern in this neighborhood and many neighborhoods in Brookline. And with that said, I would vote in favor of the relief as requested, subject to the small modification to condition number 5 that I spoke about earlier. Wadner.
I do agree with you, Randolph, and I'm in favor of it.
Thank you. Steve.
I agree. I'm in favor as well. It's a creative way to deal with this lot, and I think that it's going to be successful. It looks like there's still some work to be done, but I hope it works out.
Thank you. Yes, I agree. I think creative is the key. So if you keep your creativity up and keep in touch with staff, we wish you a successful project. It is a unanimous decision of the board to grant the requested relief, subject to the conditions that have been read into the record.
Thank you, Boyd.
Thanks. Good luck with it.
Your time and your service to the town.
Agreed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
With that, we are at the end of our agenda, and I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn. Can I have a second?
I do.
Seconded by Wadner. Roll call. Wadner Rajay.
Yes.
Yeah. Steve Brooks.
Yes.
And Randolph votes aye. We are adjourned. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Take care.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
weekend.
Bye-bye.